the reason I like playing that is because it makes me look like a better bassist than I am.
Cut me down, Samantha Rose. I'm sorry that I didn't show for reasons you should never know. I'm sorry that I didn't go.
Hey guys, it's me, Anthony Cafaro. I'm the bassist in Boy Blue, and I'm here today to show you my bass and my bass amp that I use at most of the shows that we play. Let's go. What do you want me to play? Oh, you know what I can play? I fucking love playing power chords on bass, and everybody yells at me for it, but they're not gonna stop me. So this is a Fender Light P bass. People will like look at the signature over here and be like, oh, whose signature bass is that? Nobody's. It's literally just called a Fender Light because it only weighs 7 pounds. I really can't find too much information on it online. They only made them between like the 90s and 2001. I bought it on Craigslist for a very fair price because when the guy was showing it to me, it was all fucked up. Am I allowed to curse? And then he was like, oh, this price, that price. And I was like, all right, well, let me hear, just make sure it works. And then it just fucking didn't. And I was like, right, fine. So I got it for a really good price. It was only like a small issue with the 1/4-inch input right there. What else do I know about this thing? It's got 3 EQ knobs, one for high, mids, and low frequencies. It's got this fader between the 2 pickups, the bridge pickups and the neck pickups, right? And then this, which I don't know if it's gain or volume, but if you bring it down to 0, then it just, there's no noise that comes out. So it's pretty versatile before you even get to all the shit that's on the amp. I have notes, hold on. Oh, the dude I bought it from said it was from the 80s, but when I looked up the serial number, it was not. So I don't know where he got that information from, but he was fucking goofing, you know? Right now, if the more observant of you will notice that the 2 lower strings are flat wounds and the 2 bottom strings are round wounds. And that's not on purpose. That's not because I wanted it to be that way. Quarantine happened. Finally, the band got back together and we were able to practice. And for some reason, 2 of my strings were just like, nope, we're not coming with you into 2020. And I was like, you know what, that's fine, I understand. So I took 2 of the flat wounds off of my old Ibanez. And once we start recording, I'm probably gonna get a fresh set. But until then, I'm gonna be playing this Frankenstein of a setup. I really like it though, it actually sounds pretty cool. Like they don't sound too distinct that it's like not, like it's noticeable. And since it's even between the lower and the higher strings, you kind of get a little bit of a different vibe from the frequencies that you're playing, which you would get anyway because you're playing higher or lower frequencies on a bass guitar. The active pickups, I should notice, or I should note that too, for those of you that are interested. And that's it. Like, stop that video and start a new one. They are exactly 1 millimeter, and they're not the nylon, they're like the thicker, like stickier plastic. I only ever play with these, and also Joe does too for electric guitar, which I think is terrible. I hate playing electric guitar with these thick picks. But they're like super fat, they never break. I mean, like this one's like kind of faded, you can tell. But since you don't need like as precise movements as you do on like a regular guitar, I think this makes a lot more sense for something like this than Joe's stinky Telecaster. So yeah, if you move over to my acoustic, what is it? D100 Mark II. This is a 100-watt combo amp that I bought because I got a speeding ticket, and I got a parking ticket, and I was really mad about it. I think I got it at Rutgers, and I was really mad that I got this parking ticket, and I was like, you know what? I deserve an amp. And I was making like $8 an hour at the mall, and I had like no like right to be buying an amp, and I was like, you know what? I am a bassist, I'm a musician, I'm buying this amp, like fuck the government type shit. I played it a little in the store and it was tight, so I would definitely recommend it. It's been through absolute hell being in the band, or even just being in my house. There's cat pee on it. The input jack like completely fell out. It's super glued in. I don't know if you want to check that out. It actually stopped working for like a month, like right in the middle of practice one day, it just stopped working. And I had to go in there and solder a piece of wire from the input jack to the PCB underneath. That took like a mess. Like I was in there with like a multimeter for like days trying to figure out what was wrong with it because I didn't want to return it. I looked up a bunch of videos and none of them really explained what was going on in there, so I just kind of had to figure it out. Eventually, when I was soldering it, when I actually found what the issue was, I accidentally held the soldering iron like a pencil and I burnt my hand and I could smell my flesh burning. It was gross. You could hear it too. But it was all worth it because I've had this amp for like 4 years now or something like that. And again, pretty much every show that we play, I take this even if they have DI, because a lot of places don't have direct in for bass. So if we're playing at like a backyard or even like a smaller venue like the Meat Locker, which we haven't played in forever, you can use this without having to plug in to the entire monitoring system or whatever. This has a 4-band EQ, which is pretty useful, I guess. I always accidentally set it on high. I swear to God, somebody's like coming into my house and like turning the high all the way up, because like I'll be playing it for practice. This is also incredibly out of tune because I'm a bad musician. And like it'll be set like this where the lows are like at the mid and then somebody like upped all the high frequencies and it sounds terrible, and I'm like, why the fuck does it sound like that? Like, I think my battery's dying in my bass. I actually like took out my battery once just to check to make sure before I looked at this and realized that somebody's been fudging with all my fucking knobs again. Chris, is it really you? Somebody's fucking touching my knobs. I swear to...
It's your psycho cat.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think he likes it very much. Oh, sometimes you can see scratch marks. I don't know where they are. My sister's cat and my cat both like to stretch themselves on this. So that's another bonus feature if you don't want to buy a cat tree and you want something that's like 2-in-1. Cats seem to enjoy it for some fucking reason. It has direct out on the back, or direct in, whatever you want to call it. It's got a frequency notch that I literally never use because I don't care enough to. So I always just keep it on like whatever the fucking default is. Actually, oh my god, this entire time it's just been set on a frequency, like an arbitrary frequency, because I don't know enough about like how that affects tone and I haven't played around with it enough. Volume, gain, overdrive, which is pretty dope too. I think it's a fader between normal and overdrive, so you can set how much overdrive you want and how much it mixes with your original sound. Yeah, which is also something that unfortunately we don't use a lot in the band because we have so much high-end stuff going on that there's not a lot of room for it. And I cannot suggest enough like fucking acoustic amps or Fender basses. But I'm also sweating like a lot, unrelated. It's really hot. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, Fender guitars. I hate the sound of Fender guitars. And I think this bass does everything that I like about, or has everything that I like about Fender. Quality products, like name recognition. It looks fucking really nice. It plays really nice. I know it's not gonna fucking crap out on me. The hardware is all like fucking super legit. I think it was made in Japan, in between 95 and 2001, but I could be wrong about that. All the problems that I have with the guitars are not on the, or they're the same. So the problem that I have with the guitars is that they're really twangy and they're really like that like glittery like light sound, and it's the same with the bass. I don't know if you can hear it. I'll try to keep like the most normal sound that I can to come out of this thing, but on the camera it's not like we're using any recording software right now, so it might sound a little bit like whatever. It still has that like kind of higher end like feel to it, but not to the point where it's just like I feel like I'm in a country hoedown or something like that. Like it sounds like full enough still. It still sounds like a bass. It doesn't sound like I'm playing like, I don't know. I could ramble about it for a while, but I really like this bass. And I'm gonna leave you with something Rita said to me when she first saw it. Rita's a good friend of ours, very talented musician. And she was like, I explained this to her. I told her like how I got it on Craigslist for a couple bucks. Buy all your instruments on Craigslist. Be careful. Go with a buddy system. I was talking to Rita about it, and she was like, wow, that guitar is like a gem. And I was like, does that mean something? Is that like a word that people use? And she was like, no, just like a gem, like something like rare that you find that's really cool. And like every time I play it, I think, wow, this is a fucking gem. Like out of the things that I found, I've bought instruments that I'm like, this is great. I bought instruments where I'm like, this is a fucking waste of money. And this is one that like really does feel like a gem, and I'm glad somebody else said that because it like validated that for me, I guess. This buddy too, not so much, but like this thing, even I've seen them at Guitar Center before where this piece is missing, and then I gigged with it for like a couple of years, and then that thing went missing. So I was like, oh, like I should have seen that a fucking mile away. And like this thing fell off one of the fucking plates. They're all like really loose, the fucking potentiometers in there. All things considered, it's a fucking like tank. If you know how to like maintain that kind of shit and like go in there and like fix it, or if you have a buddy that does, it'll probably last you like fucking. The fact that it's lasted this long, I'm very impressed considering the amount of shit that I put it through. I will say. That's I guess where I'll leave it. That's my bass lesson for today. Like, comment, subscribe. Got some streams on Spotify. Don't forget to smash that fucking mail us a letter. Do whatever, you know, live your life.